Tatiana, and I want to talk about this book I read semi-recently. I'm not a booktuber, um, but I'm just getting back into reading. I used to be an avid reader as a child, and I've been starting to get back into it, really thanks to my friend Morgan. Her channel is Pisces Paperbacks. She is a booktuber, but watching her videos and listening to her talk about books has really inspired me to get back into reading myself. So, and it's quarantine right now, indefinite quarantine. So I thought, why not make a book review or share my thoughts? This is the book, The Woman in the Window. I saw the trailer or the commercial for the movie that's coming out recently. I read this book about 2 weeks ago now, and I decided to go ahead and buy it. I really liked Gillian Flynn novels, mysteries, and she endorsed it here on the cover, so I thought I would give it a try. This book, I really enjoyed reading it. It's a really fun read. Yeah. See, I have mixed feelings about this book. I really enjoyed reading it. I was intrigued. I wanted to know what happened. I was surprised completely by some of the twists and turns that happened. Well written, compelling. The characters or the main character, who everything is told through, she was interesting, really enjoyed reading it. However, at the end, I'm not going to say what happened, but I will say I didn't love the result, the end plot twist, the reveal. It kind of took away from the whole book for me then, in the end. Just the person, this is a mystery thriller about who, a murder, and we have a unreliable narrator, and she becomes more unreliable as it goes. It's actually pretty intense, and even I was doubting what was happening. I'm just oh my god, I just don't know what's real. But who the ending plot twist, the who done it, I just felt like it lacked motive. It wasn't my favorite kind of reasoning device, and I was really taken aback when I finished it, because I was but I really enjoyed reading the whole book up until then. I really, really, really liked it. I was this book is great. Morgan had told me she didn't love it. But yeah, I was this is great. This is a great book. Maybe, but Morgan doesn't, she doesn't necessarily have the same taste as me. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I finished it and I just had this bad taste in my mouth. And I was but I really loved reading the book, but then I was but the ending. And then I tried to compare it kind of in my brain to how I felt with kind of reading Dark Places. I haven't read Gone Girl. I really, really liked Sharp Objects though. So I read Sharp Objects and I picked up Dark Places at the same time. Sharp Objects didn't have the same effect for me, because I did know what happened. It was something I had seen before. I had watched the HBO series twice at that point. I just loved it so much. But then Dark Places I hadn't seen, so it really, really grabbed me. And I was kind of comparing them, and I was when I was thinking about how the clues are dropped and everything came together in the end, I had my mind blown in the way that I was oh my god, I remember all these callbacks from earlier on in the plot, and everything made sense. Whereas with this one, the narrator was explaining the clues during the climax of the book, which I think kind of shows that it needed to be explained, and that's not my favorite. I'd rather get that oomph moment. Even if I who did it completely took me by surprise. I had no inkling. But that's not necessarily the best feeling for me. I would much rather read a book where I might have an idea of who it is because, you know, there's foreshadowing and clues and we have an idea, and then, you know, there's something more to it, something extra that we weren't expecting, and it all kind of comes together. It's like, oh my god, like, yeah, I had, like, you know, like an iceberg kind of effect where it's like, I had guessed maybe the tip, but there's so much more underneath the surface, and it all, like, perfectly makes sense, and it's, like, amazingly comes together. Whereas this was, like, oh, like, you thought it was an iceberg, but, like, JK, it's a polar bear, like, and I feel like that's kind of proven by the fact that the narrator was explaining out the clues. So, yeah, that's how I feel about this book. I'll probably watch the movie or see it. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, because I don't go to the movies that often. But who knows? Also, we're in indefinite quarantine right now, so I have no idea when this was scheduled to come out. But that's that book. I would recommend it to someone to read. Like I said, I really enjoyed the reading experience, the writing, how it kind of like, it was a good read. It was pretty easy, pretty quick. I read it in like less than a day. Overall, enjoyable experience. But if I'm thinking about it critically, it wasn't necessarily my favorite. So, I don't know. I'm not gonna like actually rate this on Goodreads or anything, but this is like Morgan does. She said she gives it her rating, so I'm following what Morgan does. And I would give this, after sitting with this, I was really conflicted. I remember I was texting her about it, and I was like, I like really liked it, but like, so I really liked reading it, but like I feel so torn because like now I like feel like I didn't like reading it, but like I did. But she was like, sometimes you just have to let it sit with you. So I've let it sit with me, and I think I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I was between 3.5 and 4 because I really liked reading it, but overall I decided that this book isn't something that I ever want to pick up again, per se, and that after I kind of stepped back from the thrill of like it overall, there were other books that I think just like do it better. Not that I've read that many books. Basically, I'm just comparing it to Gillian Flynn novels. I read The Girl on the Train. Very similar plot device. It's like The Girl on the Train, The Woman in the Window. I'm not even sure that's exactly it, but the one that's the movie with Emily Blunt, I read the book because my mom had it, and then I watched the movie in like one weekend. That was like years ago, but kind of similar, unreliable narrator with a drinking problem, separated from her husband for one reason or another, witnesses the murder through a window. The one was on a train. It was a window on a train. This one was a window in a house. But yeah, something about that just like doesn't sit right with me. That they're just so similar, but also like different. This person has a lot more. This character has maybe more. I don't know. I read that book a while ago, and I'm trying to compare. But there's a twist in this book that's like maybe like see, I don't want to say too much, but like there's like a couple of twists, and one of the twists, I was like it totally floored me, and I like completely like was like, I don't even know what I'm reading anymore. Like what's even happening? And it was so good, but then the other twist I was just found disappointing. I don't know. But I'm like, that twist took me by surprise so much, and I guess it had more motive. The final review, there was like, I guess there's kind of two mysteries going on. It was like the mystery of our character's past and how she became agoraphobic, and then the mystery of the murder, and I found the mystery of, like, the build-up to us finding how she became agoraphobic, like, really well done and really compelling, and the mystery of the murder was also very compelling, but also not as satisfying in the end or fulfilling, whereas, like, the other one was felt more, I guess. You know, we're here for complex female characters, definitely got one of those here, and I would recommend reading it. So that's my final thoughts. 3.5 stars overall, but, like, definitely would recommend. So thanks for watching if you decided to watch. I don't know if that was a very good review at all, but I rambled for 11 minutes and 33 seconds now, and I don't even know if I'm going to edit this, but there you go. Alright, thanks for watching. If you want to check out my other videos, no one watches them. Someone might watch this, just because it's coming out to be a movie soon, it has a good keyword or whatever, but also probably not, because I have 0 watches on my channel. But if you'd like to watch a vlog, I have some vlogs. I was thinking about, you can tune out now if you want to, but I was thinking about giving you a little bit more, like, information on, like, me wanting to get back into reading. I used to read a whole lot as a child, elementary through middle school, lots and lots of books. Harry Potter happened. That was basically, like, the only book I read at the time, though. Like, I got into the big blockbuster books, and I, like, kind of stopped reading all other books. I was just, like, reread all the Harry Potter books over and over, except for, like, the books I had to read for school. And then I kind of, that middle school is when books for school kind of pick up, so that was my other reading. I kind of stopped reading other books for fun. Then Twilight hit. Twilight, formative novel. I'm going to talk about that more in the next book thoughts I'm going to film right after this one. A lot. That is a lot. So I reread that a bunch of times. And then I read Hunger Games was really, like, the last, I kind of, like, started just jumping from, like, the big YA, blockbuster, like, movies. And I say, like, blockbusters, like, obviously they were big books, but, like, I wasn't reading them until after they were movies. Honestly, like, reading the movie gave me the incentive to, like, pick up a book like that. Reading the movie? Watching the movie, once I saw it and I was, like, interested, gave me the incentive to then, like, read the books. Which is something that, like, often happens to me. That's how I picked up Sharp Objects. I guess I didn't really care about the Harry Potter books, or the movies, before I cared about the books. Because I was really scared of the unicorn scene in the first one. My mom watched it, like, when it came out. I don't know what year that was, but I was, like, relatively young. Not that other people, like, weren't young when they read them, but, like, I, like, just saw that unicorn scene, that was it. Like, she wasn't like, hey, let's watch a movie together. I saw the whole thing. I, like, literally only saw the unicorn scene. I was like, this is scary. Kind of like what happened to me with SpongeBob. I thought I hated SpongeBob for years, because, like, the only episode I saw was the rock bottom episode. And so I refused to watch SpongeBob after that, or, like, I would just, like, wouldn't pick it, because I thought it was, like, scary. But yeah, in high school I kind of stopped reading for fun outside of books for school. A lot of them I did really enjoy. I, like, loved The Great Gatsby and a couple other picks, but I wasn't really going out of the way to read in my spare time. I was really busy with extracurriculars. I got Netflix, so that was cool, and now, many years later, I'm 24 now, books I were really into. I've read, like, some books here and there, but, like, did I even really like The Hunger Games that much? I read them a bunch of times. My friends were, like, really into it. Oh my god, my friends kept wanting to go re-see the movie when the first one came out. Oh, I saw it 3 times in theater. I didn't want to see it 3 times in theater. I didn't want to pay that money, but all my friends would do, they're like, you want to hang out? And I'd be, like, at a place with a bunch of people, because after we were, like, 16 can drive, and then they'd be like, hey, now that we're all at one place at someone's house hanging out, let's go to the movies. And I was just like, fuck, like, I don't have a ride home. I was planning on hanging out with you all. I'm not gonna just, like, be like, okay, bye, you know, like, anyway. 3 separate times I saw it in theaters. It was too much. But yeah, so now I'm 24. I would credit what's really kind of inspired me getting back to the reading. As I mentioned earlier, Morgan started booktubing. I don't know. When I was thinking about reading, I was going on a trip to Greece with my company, which is really cool. I have a vlog about that if you want to check it out. Wow, I'm just like self-promoting all over here. And I went to pick up a book for like the trip. I ended up I was in the bookstore, I really had no idea what I wanted to get. And I saw the Song of Achilles, and I was like, oh my god, this is one of Morgan's favorite books. And it's about like Greek mythology, like perfect. And I had already heard about it before and wanted to read it because it was referenced in Hannibal, the NBC show. Like, I don't know if people still remember that show, but it was really good. And it referenced that book, and I was like, the stars have aligned. I need to buy this book and read it. I read it on the trip. I loved it. I had so much trouble putting it down. I was like supposed to be doing these cool activities and hanging out during the day. And I was like in Greece, and all I wanted to do was like sit in my hotel room and read this book. I read it on the beach though. That was my solution. Under an umbrella, fully covered. Read it, and I finished it like way too early in the trip. I stayed up really late one night reading it because I was getting toward the end, and I had like an inkling what happened. If you don't, then like I actually didn't either. It's really funny because I was like, I'm not that familiar with Greek mythology. I know there's a big movie about it. Like Remember the Titans, or like I Am Spartacus, or something. One of those movies. But there's a big blockbuster movie about like the same story. I keep saying blockbusters. And one of my coworkers had asked what the book was about. I was like, oh, it's like the story of Achilles and Patroclus. And they were like, spoiler, oh, the one who dies. And I was like, yeah. Just brushing it out there, like in that movie. And I'm just like, sure. Just playing it off. But yeah, so I was getting near the end, and I was like, oh my god, like, I know this main character is gonna, like, die. I'm gonna be crying. I just stayed up late reading through the whole night. Not the whole night, but I was up till, like, 2 or 3. Because I didn't want to end up finishing the book in public while in public, being, like, on a train or just in general, or not a train, a plane, but just in general, like, I was rooming with 2 of my other coworkers, and I just, like, was reading with my phone in the corner on my, like, couch bed I was sleeping on, and, yeah, anyways, but yeah, I was just, like, quietly sobbing in the darkness, hoping I didn't wake them up, and also, like, really glad I finished it so I didn't have to be, like, sobbing in front of them, but, so yeah, that was how I started getting back into reading, sort of. That was in, like, early September. I got Sharp Objects in Dark Places in, like, I read them in, like, November, and then I was in Florida in January, and I picked up Carry On, because I saw it in the bookstore. I knew it was another one of Morgan's favorites, and she'd talked about Fangirl, or reading Fangirl on her channel, so I picked up Carry On. I read it, really liked it, read Wayward Son. I have some feelings on that one. I don't know if anyone would want to hear that, but, like, I have some feelings about that one. It's half a book, but, like, there's, like, an actual proven reason that it's half a book. It was gonna be, like, one book that was announced to come out in, like, 2020 or 2021, and then all of a sudden she announced there would be 2 more books, and one was going to come out sooner and the other one was going to come out later, so, like, that's a pretty telltale sign to me that the book got split in 2. And it reads like half a book. So, oh yeah, and then I got this, and then this, which I'm going to be talking about next. So, hop over here if you want to. This is a recommendation of Morgan's, and I'll talk to you in like 2 minutes. Alright, bye! Thanks for watching.